So Trump has a minority stake in these buildings. You're reporting that the majority stake is Vornado, the CEO of that being Stephen Roth. Can you talk about him? Who is he and what is his relationship to Donald Trump?
Yep, Stephen Roth is, like you said, the CEO of Vornado Realty Trust. He's also a billionaire, though not quite as wealthy as former President Trump. He's worth a little over $1 billion, Stephen. And he's got a reputation as a very savvy businessman. Roth is he's known to jump in on deals when he can take advantage of it. And so, he is, and additionally, he's been doing business with Trump for a very long time. So, in addition to these two buildings, he's had other economic ventures with him in the past. And, he's also served as one of Trump's economic advisors in somewhat of an informal capacity after Trump entered politics.
As Forbes has been reporting, Trump had a cash crunch in the past, could have a cash crunch in the future depending how his legal issues shape out. Is there any indication that Vornado could buy Trump out of his minority stake?
So Vornado has a couple of issues here. They have cash on hand, about 1.3 billion, which would be more than enough to buy out Trump shares after debt. But unfortunately, a lot of that cash is actually spoken for. One of the analysts I talked to told me that they've got a lot of debt maturing in the next couple of years. They're probably going to need to service that debt. They've also got big spending plans in some of their other properties. They own property largely in New York, but across the country. And they've got spending in Chicago and especially in the Penn District in Manhattan that they're really trying to plow cash into, do lots of renovations, lots of construction to get those properties up to where they want them to be. So it's a little tough to say whether or not they would jump at the chance to spend a bunch of money that they, kind of have earmarked for other stuff on buying out Trump's stakes in these buildings. With all of that said, I also talked to, I talked to several analysts here. They all told me that Roth has this reputation as a savvy businessman. One compared him to a shark, and when he smells blood in the water, he's going to strike. That was, that might be illustrative. If Trump is flailing, looking for a buyer, kind of last minute, he's only got a limited amount of time to raise the cash that he needs potentially. Maybe Roth makes him an offer.
So you're saying that there's not blood in the water yet, but there could be down the road.
It's hard to say. With everything when it comes to Donald Trump's finances, it's highly unpredictable between finances and legal trouble, neither of which are particularly predictable. This is definitely an exercise in hypotheticals.
If Roth and Vornado pass, are there any other potential buyers here?
So if you're looking for outside buyers, again, they're going to run into some of the same issues. The office market's just not super strong right now. There's not a lot of people who are looking to invest a bunch of money in a big office building. And because it's a minority partnership, most people don't want to buy into, most investors don't really want to buy into a building if they don't have the chance to improve the economics on that building a little bit. And so because of that, these are kind of less attractive stakes. That said, you could see, a big pension fund, Korean pension fund or something maybe comes in and buys into a stake, but they're probably going to be looking for a reduced cost. Ultimately, everything's going to be dictated by cost.
Do you see a world in which this buyer pool would grow?
Yeah, absolutely. If Trump is, again, looking to sell really quickly, a fire sale of sorts, that's going to drive the price that he can, ask for these stakes down, and that could expand the buyer pool.
You pointed out in your reporting that a bright spot for Trump are his shares in Truth Social. How much are they worth?
As of early May, we had them about $5.6 billion. Now, those are publicly traded, so they're going up and down, with the stock market every single day. They've been on a bit of a roller coaster lately. They, jumped very high right after they went public, took a huge dive, and have had a pretty remarkable recovery recently, and that's really boosted the former president's net worth. He's up to over $7 billion at this point.
We know that his shares are tied up in a lockup agreement, but would he be able to access that before the appeals court hears his case?
It all depends on when the appeals court hears his case. The earliest that they could hear it is September. That's around the same time that his lockup agreement, which carries about 6 months after the stock went public in March, expires. So if they hear it very early, they recognize maybe it's a really important case and they want to get their ruling done quickly. Maybe he does, face a bit of a crunch there because he can't access those shares until after the ruling is handed down. That said, if there's any sort of delays, and courts are not exactly known for moving quickly, I think it's probably likely he's going to be able to access at least some of these shares before a ruling is handed down.
Kyle Mullins, per usual, thanks for the conversation and your reporting.